G'day there you lot, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. Try to draw you into some interesting episodes, more farts on the lathe. Today what we'll be doing is progressing the borer repair for the snout bar holder. I've pressed the bush inside it and talk about facing it off a little bit. We'll move from here over to the lathe, to the borer, mount a boring tool on the table and try and get it to within a thou or closer tolerance if we can on the adapter. So I'll bring you in closer to have a look here. It's a little bit of tricky machining. I've decided to go with the TCT boring bar, but if it doesn't give me the finish I want, I'll go back to high speed steel. So interesting machinery. The bushes went extremely well, and I'll zoom you in and you can see what this fella's like. Okay, you're just a little bit high there so that the automatic focus puts it onto the snout bar adapter rather than the handle for the tailstock. Okay, I first mounted this up here with the intention of taking the first couple of thou out of this bush that I pressed in, and I got reasonably close there. One was within, I would say, half a thou and the other about a thou and a half. They pressed in nicely. The gooey goop seems to be pretty good at gluing them. Now when I first put this up in the 3-jaw chuck, I put the dial indicator on the bore and it's out the buggery, and I thought, about 16th hour, it doesn't sound right. And then I realised I hadn't put it up there to do the bore, I put it up there to face the face here. Now the other snout bore holder I'd faced off in the lathe many months ago, and I had a problem there. And then when I faced off, these grooves became quite shallow and they wouldn't locate over the drive dogs, and that was being a bit of a pain. So I've checked it on this, but anyway, after I was disappointed that the bore wasn't running too true, I put the dial indicator on the face and it was running within 2/100ths of a millimetre, and I thought, well, that's as near as down to swear it as I can get. So I decided to face it off, put it up on the borer and see what the bore come up like, and if I've got enough meat to get it concentric and the size, which will be very interesting. I'm glad I did face it off, because what prompted me to do so is I stoned it first just to see if there was any dings, and there were some bloody whoppers up around here. Someone has really been flogging the shitbags out of this thing. And also there was a big swipe of material taken out right on adjacent to one of the mounting bolts. It looks like a flap disc might have been put across there to even the material up a little bit, and I didn't like the way that all of the mount areas were distorted to hell. So it took me about 4.5 or 5 thou to clean it up, plus a couple of big lumps that were coming off it. They were obviously 1 mil or 1.5 mil of protrusion. So it's cleaned up well, it just needs a bit of a deburr, and then we'll go over to the borer and fit her up and see what we can do about getting it through. Okay, bring you back soon. Okay, back on the borer. I've got the snout bar holder up on the faceplate, on the facing head, and put the dial indicator up on it at first, and this body was out by about 12 thou or so. So I put the dial indicator into the bore, and that's out by 16 thou, and it's out in a direction across the facing head. So there's no adjustment up or down that I can make to take that out. So I did a quick measure with the dial calipers and a calculate, and I'm 16 thou out, but I've got 100 thou to come out of each side of the bush. So it'll come out a little bit unevenly, but that doesn't matter because the slide is located by the drive dogs there. It can't move sideways because of that. It can't move this way. It's locked up as good as we can get it in that direction, and the locking tab is into the head. So what I'm looking for is repeatability. I want to get the bore concentric with the axis of the head, and I want to be able to drop it on and get that again and again and again, and I just couldn't get that before. So I think part of the reason it's out is, as well as getting this base cleaned up and true, I did take some big wallers out where someone had been whacking it around the drive dog keys, and it could have been, even though I couldn't get a feeler gauge in, I tried it, it wasn't sitting as flat on the facing slide as I thought it was. So anyway, all that BS over, what we'll do is use the magic of digital zoom, and you'll be able to see just how far around it is. Now this looks terrible, but it's a 100th millimetre dial gauge, and I think it works out it's about 1/16 thou, which I should easily be able to bore out of there, getting it back to size. And also the bush finished up about 3 or 4 millimetres shy of hitting the slide. So I've got a graduations on the boring bar. I should be able to bore down to where the bush finishes and clean it up fully inside. So enough hot air and gas bagging. I'll zoom you back out again, and I'll get ready to make some noise. Okay, back again. A few things to consider here. I thought you might like to see it from this perspective, as I don't often show it. When you're operating a borer, you have to have your sequences right. You have to decide how the hell you're going to stop things happening if you start to hear a crash. And of course those are kick the power feed out. The power feed lever, or the gear selector, has a neutral, and you have to keep that in mind. But up the front here, this cheap and nasty boring bar, if I can zoom you in, it's absolutely fabulous. It's graduated along the shank, and I know at 63 millimetres I am going to crash into the faceplate. Now, as I said, the bush is about 2 to 3 mil short of the back of the snout bar holder, and even if I do leave a ridge of 1 or 2 mil back there, it's quite easy to reverse this back into the lathe and put the chamfer in there to take that out. So you have to consider crashing the tool into the faceplate. You have to consider crashing the work into the table. And the thing that everybody forgets is the swarf tray crashing into the front of the head. That's another big consideration. You've got to keep your wits about you. So I'll take you back out. First we'll zoom back. And now the crossfeed hand wheel isn't graduated on this machine. For those of you who came in late, like a phantom comic, what we have is a hand wheel down here for fine hand feed, and that has a graduated wheel and an indicator. But if you're running directly off the hand wheel, the only thing you can do is use the optometric system, which was put together in 1965, and the height scale is okay, but this one is absolutely clapped out. You can't see a bloody thing. A very faint bit of a scale, which is a shame, because when they're working, they're quite a good system. So we're left to man's devices. Dial indicator showing outfeed of the table to increase the amount being bored. Okay, I'll set you up again where you can see what's happening with the chuck. It's not really exciting, honestly. I'm having another go with index well insert bar, new corner on the insert. I'm not pleased with the finish, but that could be because of the extension of the bar. So if I give this one more go and the finish is terrible and there's too much push out, I'll just get the old high-speed steel bar and set that up on the table. But this is how you set up a boring bar on the table to bore out a snout bar holder, and the OD of the snout bar holder is still running out a bit, but that doesn't matter a rat's bum. What you're trying to do is get the bore running concentric with the axis of the head. Okay, set you up again and then we'll take another pass. Back into it again. I've taken out 4 thou to see what it's going to look like. longitudinal feed in. We'll start off slow and then pick it up a bit once it starts to cut. Yeah, it seems to be cutting okay. Pick it up into the higher feed rate. Good work, a 2-speed gearbox in an oil truck. Now when you're taking very light cuts, I've got to get it round to start with and then to size. Must be like watching drying paper out there. I'm quite happy with the way this machine's running. It's reasonably quiet. For all the gears and shafts that are whirring around, there's not a lot of noise. And as soon as I finish this cut, I'll run around and screw all the grease cuts in a little bit. I forgot about that. Tell you what, all these video lights are a pain in the bum to have around here, especially the spotlight. It's bloody good machine lights. You can really see what's going on. I don't think we're anywhere near getting it to run through yet. That'll be about maybe 2 or 4 passes. Got a paint dry in that time. Bloody hell, it's nearly time for a feed. Time flies when you're having fun. It might be better this time, and I say that simply because I can't hear the insert cutting. And not having a noisy cut is a pretty good sign. It's 255 RPM, and we're running at 3.9 thou per turn. So that's scooting along reasonably fast. Okay, I'm closing up on 60mm now. Target is 62. And when I get to 60, I'm going to drop down to low speed feed. There's less chance of a crash. Into zero, longitudinal out. As long as things aren't up the ship, you can take your time and do that. It's cutting quite a bit on the back start, so I'll make my mind up about that. Yeah, quite a bit of tool flex there, which I'm not happy about. Okay, I'll go and fill my face up and come back and make a decision after lunch. Bye for now. G'day, we're back again. Look what's hanging out of the snout bar holder. A little snout bar. I've just got to polish about 1 to 2 tenths out of it, maybe with the flap wheel, or I do have a cylinder honed down that size. I'm not going to try and cut it out. I don't work intensive with thou, I'm not that bloody good. But that's the first of them. The one that will be replacing it is exactly the same size as the hole and just wants to go, and I don't want it to or I'll never get the bloody thing out. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with what's happened today. It took a hell of a lot of turning because that little boring bar just has too much flex. It's a 16mm shank and I really do need a 25mm shank boring bar. I just don't bloody have one. So if anybody's got a spare they're not using, throw it my way and I'll get these jobs done a hell of a lot faster. Now what I'm going to do is the snout bar holder looks a bit on the piss when it's turning. I'd say there's or 10 or 15th thou run out on the OD, and it's only aesthetic. It doesn't matter, but I will turn it concentric now because it's just going to make it easier to set the holder up in the head later on. So I'll bring you back when I've got the turning tool on the table and I'm just about to cut that. Bye till then. There you go, a little bit of OD turning on the horizontal bore. Just left a bit of feed. I'm just taking a touch like class to see what's happening. And so far there's a whole lot of nothing. I didn't think I'd quite that lot of cut. Rightio, we'll go back and start again. And I'll just pump it in a thou. I looks like that's another half of thou coming off. I can't take much because as you can see the clamping of the tool holder is pretty pissy. So it's just the easiest way I can get the reach I want. Well, it's getting a little bit shiny. As I said, all I want to do is get the thing concentric. So all three should be set up. Oh, perfect, yeah. It is very good. I'll try and crank in a couple of thou. There's two levers on the car, feeding the fire off the first one. We've got the first lever and the first lever second. But still can't see any perceptible smoke. We'll probably take 50 thou, just trying to throw everything out. Other side, okay, there we go. Oh, I don't know, there's a little bit of smoke coming off this side. Okay, we'll get the gist of what's happening. I'll bring you back when it's all squared up. Now we've got the meters working properly this time. Let's get a bit of neat cutting. I found the W&M it's a little bit sensitive to approach angle. If you don't have the face the right way, they won't take right cuts. But they're not most of it. That should chew up fairly quick. I make it just so much easier to dial in when I'm using it. So a quick go with the engine home and all should be okay. Okay guys, I finish up now. G'day guys, welcome back. Furthering along the work a little bit more, and I'll zoom you in shortly. Boring tool, snout bar holder, and the tools I've used to get us so far. It's a very sketchy setup on the borer table here, so I'll zoom you in and you can see what we've been up to. But this is the snout bar holder, the bush we've put in, the tool I've used to do the OD, the tool I used to do the ID, and what I'll try next on the ID. So far the ID tool hasn't been perfect and I don't have a 20 or 25mm boring bar, so what we've done is a little bit sketchy, but it's come up quite good. I've got to hone a little bit out of the inside, probably half a thou, and my cylinder hone's disappeared in the move. I'll have another scratch around and try and find it. And here's the second one to put up, bush already pushed in and Loctited, and then we have to drill and put a socketed cap screw in to latch onto the flat which is on the side of the snap bar holders, such as there. All reasonably simple work, but I'm hoping to get the total indicator reading down to about half a thou to a thou if I can. It doesn't matter how much sideways movement you've got, but if you get tilt, if you're using end mills or a long drill bit, 1 thou at the bush equals 10 or 15 thou at the end of the tool, and it's just not acceptable. The work comes out like rubbish, as I found out on the drill grinding attachment. Okay, zoom you in, you can have a better look. Okay guys, zoomed you in a little bit, and we'll start over on the left. That's the boring bar I have been using. It's a reasonable insert with an 04 radius, little triangular insert, but it's a flat bottomed boring bar, and I think that might be the wrong approach angle for the insert, because it seems to cut better as you retract than it does going in, which is a bit of a poo. The turning tool for the OD of the snout bar is just a W&M holder, clamped quite rudely as you can see there, but I'm only taking 5 thou at a time. It's only to true the OD concentric to the ball, and that isn't necessary to do, except it does help when you're setting up. Just you can set up on the OD before you put the tool in, and that makes life a little bit easier. And sitting right here is the next boring tool I'll be using, and that's merely a brazed carbide tool to go in my 3-inch adjustable boring head. They're usually not the best, but then this wasn't the bloody best either, and that's convenient. I've got them. I don't use the boring head very often, so if I smash the hell out of this, it won't be much of a crying session. And the tool holder off my lathe has a nice V in the bottom of it, so it makes it easy to clamp that bar up nice and tight, and I'll be clamping at both ends of the tool holder. I'll let you come in and see how that works while we're boring the bush out. And to finish up, this is the next one in the series to be bored. They'll both be drilled and tapped for socketed cap screws, and I'll be using this holder in the horizontal borer as well, just cut off about that level, and then using a nut and some threaded rod to retain the end mill holder in there, my little collar chuck. At least you know what we're up to. Bye for now. G'day guys, back again, doing a bit of a final finish up on the snout bar holder, and it's just a fraction undersized, more specifically deeper into the bore. I think that the boring bar might have been getting crowded with swarf and getting a bit of pushback as it got further in. Now, I don't like sticking fingers in there with emery tape, because quite often you can get them broken right off, and I mean right off. I've seen some pretty awful circumstances, and I remembered back to my younger years when I was working on turbochargers, and we were taking the bearings to the next size out, up usually in 5 thou increments, and you try and polish the last couple of tenths out to get a good on size and good finishing size. And what we used was a piece of plastic conduit, and slit the end of it, put a bit of emery tape through, wind it, and you can get a pretty good job. Well, I had no plastic pipe or anything round made out of plastic. I searched this shed high and low, and then I remembered copper pipe for boilers. Bloody hell, it'll do the job. 3/4 inch diameter, hacksaw to slit in the end of it, and you can use emery tape if you want, or handy roll, whatever they want to call it, utility roll, and it's not a bad material. It's only a glue bond, so it's not super strong, but what I use is time expired linear bolts. Resin bonded material, they're designed to be really tough. You can slit to any width you want, just screw it inside with a Stanley knife, and they usually just tear very, very close to the width. So I tore a piece off about 3/4 wide, and I'm going to use a little bit in the bore here, and later on I'll be using a bit on the lathe, and I'll show you what I do. I'm not a big fan of putting rags over the bed of the machines when you're using abrasives. You should really put something over it, and I'm not real happy about doing this job the way I am, but I really have to get a concentric. I don't like getting shite inside the facing head, but we'll clean it up later. What I do is I put a piece of newspaper across the bed. They're usually just the right bloody size. If it gets tangled up around the chuck or around the moving parts, it just doesn't bloody matter. It makes a lot of noise, but you're not going to get hurt. I have had a rag sucked up on the lathe and into the chuck and wrap around it, and I was very lucky to escape without major injury. But very easy to use. If you wrap it around a couple of times, you can get quite a good cylindrical shape, and as it gets clogged a little bit with the material, you just rotate it around and you get a new piece of abrasive in the job for quite a fair bit, and then you can just tear it off and start again. So very, very easy to use if it can make some noise. Simulated demonstration, just like on TV. Try to keep it moving just a little bit, even out the amount I'm taking out. You can see it's starting to load up. The abrasives take a little bit, so I'll just rotate it for 2 degrees, pick up a new face. You can see it's supposed to wear around, and it works quite well. I'm hoping to get that to where I want it, just under a thou oversize, so that at least I get a transition fit. At the moment, it's what I call a dangerous fit. It's virtually on size. If I was to push that in there, I would never get the bloody thing out without using the press. And maybe then not. Okay, that's all I'll show you on this machine. I'll roll you around to the lathe now. Okay, we're back on the old Mosaic lathe, and I'll show you what I do with the same piece of linear belt material. Sneak around to the working end. If you just want to clean the job up a little bit, you can loop it around. For God's sake, don't keep it as a belt. If you get your hand inside the belt and it gets caught up on the lathe work, you just suck your hand in there in half a second and take your hand right off. But what I use is a bit of the belt material. I put it on the lathe file, and I'm using 180 grit here, which is medium fine, still enough to take a bit of material off. You can chase that down to a reasonable level of accuracy. It does take a bit of time and a bit of work, especially if it's hard material. That will give you a reasonable finish. And with this slow speed, you can get up reasonably close to the chuck without making a mess of your fingers. And that's very important. Once again, bit of newspaper down on the bed. If it gets sucked up, who really cares? Bye for now. Well, a bit of a finish up on today's work. I've decided that it meshes up, that it should be a good fit. It is only a very far tight, and I realise now that it's going to live there. I don't know how often I would be pushing it out because I've got the other snout bar holder to run the snout bar in. So in the interest of not making it too bloody big in the bore, I'm going to never seize this item and push it in. That way I can always push it out if I want to. All that's left to do is the boring shit like drilling and tapping for the set screw. So I'll leave it at that and say goodbye for today. If you've come this far, please like and subscribe. Don't forget, a piece of copper pipe The best thing about doing it this way is you can always let the bloody thing go. The same on the lathe. If the file gets caught up or your bit of emery tape gets caught up, just let go. Step back. Don't get caught up trying to fight it. Otherwise you'll just end up losing body parts. Now I've got to clean up 2 pigs of machines. This has been quite a dirty job, and there's swarf and dust and shit everywhere. But at least with the abrasive dust, all I do is pick up my newspaper and put it in the bin. So there's nothing desperate going to happen there. I won't bore you anymore with the other snout bar holder. And as I said, the other one doesn't have to be that accurate, because if your boring bar or your snout bar is a little bit off, it still transcribes a circle. It's only when you're projecting a drill or a milling cutter out of a collet chuck. If you're out 1 thou at the chuck, you're out 15 thou at the end of the tool. So that's why I'm reluctant to make this one fit in a transition fit where I can take it out easily, because if I go back to being 1 thou or so out with it being loose, I've got exactly the same bloody problem back again. So I run the risk, never seize it, push it in. If there's any more drama, I'll let you know. So bye for now.